We have everybody? We're good? Okay. All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm here today with Lieutenant Alan Laird, Sergeant Jessica Franco, Investigator Andrew Wigton, and they've been working this investigation. On November 10th, 2018, at approximately 9:55 a.m., an Irondequoit police officer was traveling in the 300 block of Bayview Road when he observed a female lying near the roadway. Irondequoit Ambulance and Laurelton Fire Department personnel also responded to the scene. Unfortunately, the female had died as a result of her injuries that appeared to be caused by a motor vehicle. The investigation determined the female was crossing Bayview Road from her home to get the mail, and she was struck by a vehicle that left the scene. The female victim was identified as Joan Dearna, 87 years of age, and a longtime resident of the town of Irondequoit. We are also working with the Monroe County Medical Examiner's Office and awaiting their final report, as well as with the Monroe County Sheriff's Department Accident Reconstruction Unit. The Irondequoit Police Department has been asking anyone with information or who may have been in the area on November 10th to please contact 911. The Irondequoit Police Department investigative team led by Sergeant Jessica Franco and the Irondequoit Police Department Evidence Technicians Unit led by Lieutenant Alan Laird have conducted an extensive ongoing neighborhood canvass to gather as much information as possible. This includes reviewing video footage of motor vehicle traffic on roadways and identifying possible vehicles traveling in the area on that day at that time. We are asking for the public's assistance in locating the vehicle that you have been provided a photo of. It was in the area on November 10th when this tragic incident occurred. We feel as though this individual may have some information that would be helpful to our investigation. Once again, we are also asking anyone with information on this vehicle or who may have video footage from this area to call 911 and ask for an Irondequoit police supervisor. Irondequoit Police Department personnel have worked throughout the last few days to develop additional information and conducting inquiries with residents in this area, as this is a very active, ongoing investigation. At this point, we'll answer any questions that you might have.
What can you describe of the truck? It's a little fuzzy picture. Do you have a description of what this?
That's what we have. No one has provided any additional information in regards to that. It's the best quality at this particular point. We're certainly working to see if we can get that enhanced.
Where did that image come from? Did it come from a neighbor's house or outside?
Somebody from within the neighborhood.
So was that a home security type camera?
Correct.
You said you had video footage of traffic. Is that all from home cameras? That seems to be a pretty residential area over there, or do you have other sort of cameras set?
Predominantly residential security cameras.
Is the driver of this vehicle, if you want to talk to this person, are they considered a suspect at this point? How would you characterize that?
I would just consider them a person of interest. That's a vehicle that we were able to capture its description and its very distinctive features, which could hopefully provide us with some information.
Can you just give us some of those, just rattle off some of the features that you might be able to tell us to look for?
Well, as you can see from the photograph, it's a commercial type vehicle. It's got some type of a box on the rear end of it. It is white in color, and it is driving through that neighborhood. We don't have anybody that is telling us specifically what that vehicle looks like as of yet.
How close to this house or to the was this image taken from? What was the proximity?
I would say within a mile of that home.
Before or in which direction?
It looks as though it is driving toward Bayview Road.
When you looked at other images from people's cameras, did you identify a number of vehicles, or is this sort of the only one in that time frame, and that's why you're seeking information about this?
There are a number of passenger vehicles that don't necessarily have the distinctive features, and the timing would put it perhaps beyond the scope of when the incident occurred. So the timing of the situation and the unique aspect of the vehicle is what we're hoping will lead us to some additional information from that operator.
So she was found at 9:55, but is there any way of knowing really when the incident happened?
Well, we believe it was shortly before that. When conducting the extensive neighborhood canvass, we do have a neighbor who is outside doing yard work in close proximity to where unfortunately Mrs. Dearna was found. So it seems to be pretty consistent that it would have occurred relatively short period of time from when the officer located her.
But that person did not witness.
That is correct.
You talk about distinctive features. Why do you think distinctive features? Is there an indication, for example, that whatever you found on the scene says that the victim was hit by a pickup truck? Is that some of what you're working from?
No.
So it's just that this vehicle was in that place at
Correct.
approximately that time.
Right.
And any other leads besides this right now?
No, we're really relying on the public to come forward. They've been exceptional with us as far as sharing whatever information they had or what information they don't have. They're very welcoming to our investigative team as they go door to door. We're going to continue that process. We're going to expand that process. We're going to make sure that we leave, if you will, no stone unturned. And we're hoping that by this information and the fact that no one can be providing us information that isn't helpful. Every piece of information is critical to this investigation. And we owe that to the family, we owe that to the community, and we're going to continue to work very hard to offer some form of resolution in this matter.
Could the person who had struck the victim not have realized that they struck the victim? And is there any way that this could have been a pure accident?
Well, I would just say that every possibility exists. So that would be very difficult for me to even speculate, but certainly any possibility exists in a situation like this.
But at that time, it was daylight. It wasn't in the middle of the night.
That's correct.
For people who don't know the area, other parts of the county, can you describe that? Is it more rural, more suburban, more, houses close together, farther apart? Can you just give a sense of what
Sure.
that block looks like?
Right. The residential neighborhood is predominantly in close proximity to neighbors, right? They don't have, if you will, large acreage. So there's a number of houses that are pretty much right next to each other. If I could use a traditional suburban lot, the best way that I'd be able to describe that. So there are neighbors to either side of pretty much everyone on that street and in those side streets. However, if you go down a little bit further, you find yourself along Irondequoit Bay. But yet you are bordering Route 590.
The scene seems to be on a pretty distinctive curve. Do you have any indications to the vehicle was traveling west when this happened, a blind curve, any of those considerations?
Well, I think if you look at there is a curve just prior to that location, but it's pretty straight away when you get to that particular location if you assess the roadway in particular. So I believe that once someone makes the turn, there shouldn't have been any view obstruction for them.
But even if it was an accident that caused this, that person should have stopped.
Absolutely, you are correct, for certain. If someone obviously knew that they had just struck something or someone, in this case an individual, that they should have stopped and reported that, just from a morality perspective.
You talk about the curve before the scene, meaning the vehicle would have been traveling west. Is that right?
I don't believe the vehicle would have been traveling west.
Towards 590?
Towards 590, yes,
That would be maybe more south.
that would be.
And again, this vehicle is a vehicle of interest for people who just joined it to repeat, because we're looking at this particular vehicle because it was there, it was the only vehicle there in that, close to that time that this incident happened?
You are absolutely correct. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to get some additional information from an individual that would have been on that roadway at that time in close proximity to the incident occurring. And they may believe they don't have any important information, but certainly every piece of information is important in this investigation.
But this particular person, that driver, is not necessarily a suspect.
Is not a suspect.
What light has the accident reconstruction process shed so far? Anything?
That's still ongoing. We utilize the services of not only our technicians by working through that scene, but also the technology associated with the accident reconstruction equipment from the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, and we're waiting for a final report from them.
Can any of them explain what it is you're looking for when you have a vehicle on a pedestrian and the vehicle's long gone?
What we look for is, with the technology that was provided with the use of the Sheriff's Office and their partnership with us, is they help us diagram the whole scene. And through a series of measurements and mathematical formulas, we're able to figure out approximate location of where the victim may have been struck in the roadway based on where she was found.
Do you have that information? Do you know where she was struck?
And not at this point. We're still waiting for the final report. And that'll be a collaborative effort between not only the technicians here at the Irondequoit Police Department, but also with the Sheriff's Office Reconstruction Unit.
Were there any indications of skid marks or any attempt to stop or anything like that, or avoid the collision?
At this point, with the investigation still ongoing, that information would really not be prudent to release at this point.
If you've had an accident involving a vehicle or two vehicles, it seems like it would be pretty straightforward. What happens if you got no vehicle and one pedestrian who's dead at the scene? What does that do to this whole process?
Well, it makes it a very difficult scene. Makes it very tough with the limited information that we have. But again, with the expertise of not only our technicians unit, but also the Sheriff's Office technicians unit, and the technology that we have with that partnership, we're hoping to get more information.
Also, was the mailbox at the end of her driveway, or was it one of those that's like across the street?
It's across the street.
So she was crossing the street at the time this happened?
Yes.
Was
believe
she
so,
in the
yes.
road, or could she have been on the shoulder when that?
Again, based on the early points of this investigation, we're going to hold off on releasing any of that information.
And the vehicle, the proximity, and just to be clear, Chief, was it in the area, do you think, before or after this incident occurred? The vehicle, this truck, was it, do you think that it was in the area before the incident or after the incident?
Based upon the information that we have, we believe it's before.
So you wouldn't see any sign of the accident on the vehicle in that picture?
I don't believe so. Just to go back to the question that was raised about what things we find at a scene, and in this particular case, the example citing that we might have very limited information at the scene, if you will, and still waiting for reports. I think it really illustrates the importance of, number one, the transparency of the investigation as far as what we have now, and how important it is for the community to come forward and say, even though this might seem inconsequential, that it isn't, and they need to report that to us.
Chief, we had some folks along that stretch of road say that it gets a little hairy, vehicles go pretty fast, and there's been a series of minor property accidents right around there. Is that an issue for you folks?
Well, we reviewed the data associated with that street for calls for service, and we have had some minor motor vehicle accidents, certainly nothing that rises to this level, and certainly nothing that would indicate we have an unsafe roadway. That's it. All right. Well, thank you all very much for your time. I appreciate it. Appreciate your patience, and I appreciate you coming out.